So I remember Barry called me and says, Lou, I just had breakfast with Holton. And I think it was with Holton and Arlene. And Holton sat down with Barry and Kara. They went out to breakfast. Now, I didn't know this. Barry didn't tell me he was eating breakfast with Holton. Okay? This is my partner now for over 20 years. And he finished breakfast and he called me and said, Lou, I have to tell you, man, there's something going on here, and I'm not talking about the sales. I'm not talking about the growth. I'm not talking about the coffee. I'm not even talking about the system. He goes, man, they've got all that down. He says, but Lou, they have a vision. They have a vision of doing something big. And I know my partner for over 20 years now. And he came back and he said, Lou, they have the vision that we have. They want to be a world changer. They want to change the world one person at a time. They want to do things. And he said, it's so huge. And I started hearing the excitement in his voice. And I was like, well, Barry, and I was just holding on. I was like, Barry, we own this company. We've invested everything in this. We poured millions of dollars. We have all of these things. We have our people. I was like, Barry, I know what we want for our people, but Barry, and I'm holding on for dear life. And Barry's like, Lou, I got to investigate this. He says, I got to get outside. I got to find out why this man and this woman have come into our life. And I went back to my wife, Paula, and I said, Paula, our partner's lost his mind. I said, Paula, what are we going to do? And she said, Lou, leave it in God's hands. If Holton Buggs, Mr. Buggs and Arlene are in our life, let's just let this play out and let's see what he has for us. Now, so here's the story. So I'm sitting in our office. Now, we had a big office, okay? 200 and something thousand square feet of fulfillment and distribution space. Okay? Beautiful situation in Houston, Texas. Now, Barry calls me and says, Lou, I just want you to know I'm on my way to Las Vegas. I'm like, where? He says, Las Vegas. He says, I just have to check this out. Something inside of my spirit says, we got to go. I'm like, Barry, now I'm about to go do one of my meetings. And I'm like, Barry, you go, I'm not going. I said, Barry, you go, I trust you, but I'm not going. I can't deal with this. My head will get too messed up. Because I knew what I would see. Okay, I knew what I was going to see. So Barry and Kara go to Las Vegas, and he is machine gunning me. And I'm getting pictures of my neighbor on a horse. I'm seeing people flying in the air. I see all the diamonds here with tickets to go see Celine Dion. I see all of the Mercedes and the Lamborghinis with my name on it, Gallardo. Okay, in the foyer, in the courtyard. And I'm getting sick to my stomach. And I'll never forget, I just literally got on my knees in our office, in our corporate office, and I said, Lord, I'm confused. Because I had a situation where I had my dreams and my hopes and my investment that I had for 12 years over here, and little did I know I had my future in Las Vegas. So, I'll get quick because I got to leave time for Barry and Kara. So he calls me, and he finally gets me, and he says, Lou, you got to come see this. I am telling you. It's not all the people. It's not all the money. I was like, well, tell me more about the money. He said, Lou, it is a movement. It is a movement. Woo! So, I jump on the plane, I get there, and the boogeyman got me. I walk in, and I knew right then and there exactly what we were going to do. Okay, now I didn't come to that point yet, but I just knew. And here's the end of the day. What really did it for me was that video clip. And now we watched you remember the video clip? That was from a movie, a film. It's called Facing the Giants. Facing the Giants. I want you to know I have 3 children that my wife and I, they are the love of our life. They're God's gift to us. I have a 14-year-old son named Connor, and I have a 10-year-old son named Stephen. And they're athletes. And we watched that movie 5 times. I didn't know that you were going to play that. I sat my children in our media room and we watched that movie because I want them to know that message. The message, okay, of giving it all you got. Leaving it on the field. Never quit, because I wanted them to have that message in their life. So that movie I can relate to. I know many of you can relate to. I had tears. I was trying to hold it back when I was sitting there, because that movie means so much to me. There's another part of that movie. If you've seen it, how many of you have seen that before? Wow, look at that. There's another part of that movie where an older man comes in and is telling the coach when he's about to give up. And he said, "Coach, I have a message for you." And he shared a scripture, and the scripture was, "Do not give up. You're about to walk into the land." And he told a story about 2 farmers. Do you remember this? Yeah. 2 farmers. And they were praying for rain. They were praying for rain. Lord knows, I have prayed on my knees. He said 2 farmers were praying for rain. They left, and one farmer went out into the field, and he had his raincoat on, he had his crops ready, and he was prepared for rain. And the other farmer just prayed and went in the house. And the gentleman in the film went to the coach and said, "Which farmer are you?" My question is, which farmer are you? Are you preparing for rain? Are you ready for rain? I'm ready for rain. I'm telling you, I just want to thank Colton and Orlean. I want to thank Shane. I want to thank every one of you for welcoming us. Our team. I want to thank our team right here in the front row for helping us. We've got sapphires that are breaking. We have emeralds that are breaking. We are so excited. And I want to thank every one of you. Every one of you have been so gracious, so humble. It is incredible. Barry, we're home. I just want to introduce my partners, Cocheu and Barry Cocheu.
Well, I'm just going to say, if everyone can put their hands out, can you feel the rain?
Yeah.
I think it's already raining. Anyway, we just feel blessed to be here. It's such an honor. And how many of you know that what you think is before you, the plan that you have for your life, is always different than the plan that He has for your life. That's right. So I tell you what, being here today, it's kind of like being in church, right? But a lot more fun. A lot more fun because you have a group of people that are like-minded. And I have to tell you, the leadership here is amazing. Absolutely amazing. People who work hard and give everything they have. And it's so great to be around people like that. And I'm going to turn it over to you, honey, because I know we're on a time schedule, right?
Well, to take just a couple minutes, when Lou introduced me to Halton, it was in our conference room. Big, nice, black marble table. I saw him sitting there. It was just the 3 of us. And, when you meet Halton, it's kind of like you're looking at somebody and they're a little bit different look in their eye. I was thinking, man, I'd love to get this guy in our business. was in some coffee thing, and you know, he was just sitting there, and we were talking to him about the change of our compensation plan. And he was talking to us about vision, about culture, about reorganizing a thought process that other people could benefit from. And you see, my entire life, you know, I have, you know, just been drawn to people that are people builders, personal development. It's been such a big part of what has made everything happen for me. Because I didn't start off with very much. What you see right now is not always what you got. And so when I started to spend time talking to him, you know, you have to realize something. You know, as a CEO of a company, you have a perception of who you are. But how many people can recognize and know that influence and association are two different things? Both very powerful and very subtle. And regardless of how high you might go, it's amazing how quickly that influence and association can subtly begin to move you in a different direction. You might not recognize somebody nudging you. You might just kind of move in a different direction, and pretty soon you're nudged, and before you know it, you're here, and before you know it, you're in a completely different direction, and the person says, didn't you realize that person was nudging you? You know, did you feel it? You said, yeah, I felt it, but I didn't realize I'm in a completely different direction in my life. And that's exactly what happened to us. When I realized that the fabric of what we needed had to be reorchestrated in our hearts and minds, the quickest distance from where we were to where we needed to be was right in front of me. I flew to Las Vegas. I have to tell you, I sat right there in the front row that you guys are sitting in right now. And I knew the second I was sitting there that my life was never going to be the same. That everything that I was hoping for was there. But you have to realize it wasn't the meeting of the 12,000 in Las Vegas. It's kind of an impactful meeting. It was the meeting of 1,000 people that had gone to Sapphire and above. And it was the leadership and the personal development that was occurring inside that venue that made me realize that I had to have every leader in our company expose that information. We asked 15 to 20 of them to come. We said, we need you guys to fly in. We have to talk. They had no idea what they were coming to. We sat in the conference room. We said, guys, we made a decision to merge every bit of our energy into another direction, and that's with OrGano Gold. And you know something? Every one of them, one at a time, amazingly enough, because you always find out who's with you and who's not with you. Not when things are good, right? But when things are tough. And every single one of them at that table said, Barry, Lou, we're with you. And then I said, you know what? Guys? I want you to understand what you're signing up for here. Because it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some people upset with you. Okay? It's not going to be easy. I said, but that's okay. You just do what you got to do. And then we introduced them to Holden and Orlean. 30 days later, emeralds, sapphires, were diamond. The rest is history. And I'm going to tell you something. If you make up your mind and you don't let anything distract what you want to accomplish, truthfully, no matter who says what, it may be the people closest to you, and often it will be. The ones that you think that love you are sometimes the ones that don't want to see you move in a different direction. Okay, you have to realize 87%, I just want to end with sharing this with you. 87% of all the working people in the United States retired at age 65 with an average net worth of $6,800. That's assets over and above liabilities. Do you think that there's a different mindset that's outside of this room than what's in this room? I promise you, as soon as you leave this room, you'll feel it. But when you're in this room, you'll feel something very different. The small percentage of people that don't end up in that situation have a very different thought process. They think very differently. The other day I had a quick conversation with Holden. He said something to me. It got me kind of excited. He said, we're running out of places where we can hold our venues. Now, I've always been a Dallas Cowboy football fan. I knew that there was something about him that I liked. And he said something to me, and it just got me so jacked up. He said, Barry, I'm thinking of calling Jerry Jones. I said, what? I think we might have to have Cowboy Football Stadium very soon. So that's what all of us, that's what all of us right here have an opportunity. Look, we're sitting here now with the 2,000 of us, but hide and watch. We're going to fill stadiums all over this country.